Quite recently, Battlestate Games released a Tarkov 12.11.2 update, and with that a bunch of new changes, quality of life improvements, and a few new late game quests. And by late game, I mean really late game. All of the quests added, you need to be at least level 45 to even start, and some of them you can't start until you're like level 65 and above. It's pretty crazy. But nevertheless, I'm going to be talking you through some of the new quest lines in various different videos that you'll see on the channel, so make sure you subscribe to that. We're going to start off with one of the new quests called Capturing Outposts. This is given to you by Prapor, and you need to be level 45 to start this quest. This quest requires you to kill PMCs on various maps, and the objectives are to kill 15 PMCs in the Scav base on Customs, 15 PMCs in the Scav base on Woods, and 15 PMCs at the pier on Shoreline. Now at first, when you're reading that, you may know where the pier is on Shoreline, but the Scav base on Customs and Woods is pretty vague. You actually need to read the description, the actual dialogue that Prapor gives you when you accept the quest in order to know exactly where you need to go. The Scav base in Customs is actually the big central construction area in the new expanded zone, and the Scav base on Woods is that medical area by the blood sample car close to the RUAF extract. And then of course you got the pier, which is down the bottom of the Shoreline map right by the gas station where the blue and white building is, and the occasional Sanitar will spawn and bum you in the ass. But killing 15 PMCs in each of these locations is not easy to do at all. 15 PMCs is a lot of PMCs in general, even if you're a god at the game, let alone finding them in these small areas around each of the maps. So let me give you some strategy that I have used in my experience and the things that I think work the best in order to get PMC kills, where you should position yourself, what weapons you should use, etc. Let's start off with the Scav base on Customs, shall we, the big construction area. This building is pretty hard to miss, however it is 3 stories high and there are tons of hiding places. That's why in general I usually rush in with a fast firing, low recoil weapon with quite high ergonomics and great point firing. I use an MP5 quite a bit, a Vector also works really well, or even the new Mutant you can really mod out to be a close quarters monster. Inside of this construction building, which is commonly referred to as Stronghold, there are 2 main rooms that you're going to want to check for PMCs. The medical room at the far corner of the Stronghold itself. This room's going to have PMCs in it because there's tons of weapon crates that you can loot, as well as medical supply containers which take a while to loot and people can be caught with their hand up their ass if they're not careful. And of course you've got the accommodation area in the centre of the ground floor, and this is a smaller room but people do check it for the chance of finding high tier weapon attachments and of course moonshine that spawns on the table alongside some food spawns. Going balls to the wall and going close range, you're going to want to check every corner because people can be looting anywhere. There's technical supply crates upstairs, and of course you've got an AGS and 2 50 cals on the second floor as well, and people can be on them shooting either the crack house or the skeleton and the old construction and dorms sort of area. But personally, there's also other ways of going about this. This quest doesn't require you to actually be in those locations, you need to kill people in those locations, so you can do it from afar. My favourite spot for this is actually at the train tracks right at the back by old gas station, and this will allow you to get a great line of sight down the whole opening area of both the first and second floor of the Stronghold. You can see all sides, use the train for cover, and get really nice lines of sight if you see people moving around up there. And if people are on the second floor, they've got tons of opportunities to stand still and you can see their heads silhouetting pretty clearly. You could just shoot them off and pick them off there. You've also got the skeleton building itself in the old part of the construction area. This is great to see the AGS and one of the 50 cal machine guns. If someone decides to sit on one of them and start shooting, you can pick them off as a stationary target and that will count to your quest. And of course you can look at Crack House and look from Crack House towards Stronghold, but personally that's a very high PvP area, and if people do decide to get on the guns and just shoot at that sort of area, you're going to be dead before you can pick someone off. So the 2 far corners by the train tracks and by Skeleton is where I'd use long range, and you can use any sort of long range weapon with a scope for that, or get up close and personal with an MP5 and get in there and get your hands dirty. The pier on Shoreline is actually one of the easier out of the 3 locations to get your PMC kills. The reason I say this is because there are a few different angles you can get from afar to aim down and see quite a bit of the pier area. And this pier area ranges from the whole ramp that leads down to it and all of the back area towards the lighthouse as well, so you've got quite a large area in order to find PMCs if they are going to loot there. So you have the hill that overlooks gas station, and if you have a high powered scope on a clear day you can see all the way down the ramp that leads to the pier, and you can see most of the courtyard and the outside area from that hill, and then you can range your weapon at 100 or 150 meters, take a shot and usually get some PMC kills when they're not expecting it. And you do have another option of positioning yourself along the ridgeline that runs adjacent opposite the road to the pier itself. You can jump on some of the rocks to get a better vantage point over the blue fence so you can see a bit more of the courtyard, but from this angle you get a great view of the windows in the blue and white building, and you get a much clearer view of the lighthouse and the whole sort of shorey area leading up to the lighthouse. But once again, the pier itself is a great way to go in for PvP close range. If you run down there with a fast firing submachine gun like the MP5 or the Vector like I mentioned earlier, what I usually do is run straight down the ramp and directly head into the blue and white building. That's where you're going to find the majority of your PvP action, because people are going to be going in there to loot the safes and the computers and the filing cabinets as well. So you have a great chance to capture people off guard pretty easily. Once you've cleared that whole building out, move through and check the rest of the buildings and make sure the courtyard is clear. From here, I recommend positioning yourself in certain angles, because people will run down the ramp to this location if they're by the gas station anyway. It's quite a good place to loot, especially if people are not going to the resort. It may be a bit of a waiting game, but you will find players just coming in, and as they're running through you can catch them from peeking through a window, or catch them if you're round the corner to the opening of the blue fence at the bottom of the ramp. There's a ton of different angles you can get of players running down into the pier area, and this will all count towards your quests and getting 15 PMC kills done. And lastly, we have the woods location and the Scav base there. This is the Emacom area that is located right by the blood sample car, as I mentioned earlier, and this is personally the hardest place that I find to kill PMCs, mainly because there isn't really a great angle to get long range snipes into that area. It's very much blocked off, you can't really see things because there's a load of shipping containers in the way, and everything has sort of some really good hard cover surrounding the perimeter. So you're going to need to go in, and going in isn't actually too hard because there's tons of different corners that you can peek, there's tons of different bits of cover inside of that area that you can get into, like shipping containers and tents, and getting up on top of stairs and looking down. All those different angles that you can get to wait for PMCs to come and loot. PMCs do come to loot this area, especially if they're heading through at the start, so if you spawn close, get in there quick. That is the best bet for you to find PMCs, because people might loot this on the way to the lumber camp, because that is still the best place to go for loot. But the medical area has got some good stuff that people might be interested in, so make sure you're positioning yourself. Maybe stay quiet and wait for people, that might be your best bet. I've never actually run there and encountered someone else running there at the same time. I've either ran there and been jumped, or I've run there and jumped people, you know, it's one of the two. But my best bet for getting PMC kills is actually going up the metal stairs and hiding in the shipping containers that are up on the stairs. You get a great vantage point looking down. You can also hide in some of the guard towers as well, but you are very much exposed up there. You ain't got much place to run if someone decides to throw a grenade or something at you. But getting high, you'll be able to see over a lot of the corners and a lot of the cover that is in this Emacom area. And once you do that with a weapon with good high tier ammunition that's fast firing, you'll be able to put PMCs down before they even know what hit them really. So you took my advice, you've run the raids, you've got the kills, and you've finally handed in that quest. You get quite a decent reward for being level 45 actually. You get 84,000 XP, which is a great amount of XP, especially because you want to get to level 71 now in order to get Kappa. You'll also get an Ash 12 assault rifle, and 1.5 levels in your throwable skill, so your grenades will be better, you can throw grenades farther and all that sort of stuff. So, what do you think of this quest? It's a little bit difficult and a little bit time consuming, but once you get there, it's a nice quest to complete, especially if you're bored after level 40. Other than that guys, this video was a little longer than I expected, but I'd rather give you guys as much information as possible to keep you guys in the loop on where to go to get these quests done as quick as possible. But other than that, like I said earlier, subscribe to the channel to make sure you're up to date with all of these new guides that I'm going to be releasing over the coming days. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon. If you like the video, like it, subscribe and all that, and comment for the algorithm. You're the best. So sweet. I love you. I'll see you soon.